Well, hello and a very warm welcome to this week's Racing Post Sweet Spot, brought to you by Boyle Sports. No Bruce this week, so I'm on the bag of the Racing Post golf guru, inform guru as well, Steve Palmer. Steve, you've been off after your Masters heroics. What have you been up to?
Oh, it was an action-packed week, Dave. Yeah. It wasn't very relaxing. I mean, young kids, as you well know, if you take half-term week off, you've got problems. But I did manage to get a couple of rounds of golf in. I had my first round of golf of the year, and I shot a 72, which tied for my best ever round. My best round for 24 years, made 5 birdies. So I think that was the Scheffler effect. I was on such a high after the Masters, Scheffler winning the Masters, that 2 days later I shot a 72, my best round for 24 years. Unbelievable. Golf is a game played in the head, Dave. If you get in a good headspace, you play good golf. And I proved that last week. I'm still buzzing about that 72.
Yeah, how often do you get to that par 3 course?
Good one, Dave. Good one. No, there's a few reachable par 4s, I must admit. But 5 birdies. I had 3 eagle putts. I feel like I can make the Champions Tour now. I'm focused on making the Round Bellies Tour.
Absolutely. Right. Well, let's have a look back at last week then, because it was the RBC Heritage. First and foremost, because you was off, I know you're going to look back on it, Steve. Would you have found the winner?
I don't think so. I don't think many people would have found the winner. I mean, it was a bit of a bum steer. Jordan Spieth missing the cut in the Masters. I mean, that's his favourite event. It would have been difficult to make a case for Jordan Spieth. Patrick, I'd much more like to have backed Patrick Cantlay, I think. So, I was pleased to see Spieth get the job done there.
Okay, and what did you make of the tournament itself? Any takeaways? Anyone catch the eye in behind that we should be looking out for in the coming weeks?
Well, it was fascinating to see Spieth win, as he said, without a putter. I mean, he putted really poorly. He was 60th in the putting stats, but he topped the tee to green stats, as he did in the Texas Open the week before the Masters. So Spieth fans can be very excited about the way he's hitting the ball. If he gets his old putting magic back, then he could contend for really big titles soon. And I think surprisingly little is being made about his chances of completing a career Grand Slam next month. All the pre-Masters hysteria about Rory McIlroy joining that elite club. Only 5 players in history have completed a career Grand Slam. Rory McIlroy needs a Masters to do it, but Spieth, don't forget, only needs a USPGA to do it. And I think he'll really like his chances at Southern Hills next month now, because that USPGA is by far the closest USPGA since Spieth started playing in it to his home. He's spoken about how excited he is about this particular USPGA, because Oklahoma borders Texas. And he said he's really excited about playing sort of firm, windy, Texas-like conditions in the USPGA. So it's entirely feasible that Spieth joins that, the most elite club in sport next month.
And Steve, just quickly, for the casual golf follower out there who might dip in and out of golf, sort of a handful of times every year, they might have seen that result and gone, "Oh, that Jordan Spieth, he's some player. Has he gone off 40-1? What has happened to Jordan Spieth for him to have gone off 40-1?
Not quite as trustworthy as he used to be, and he's only played well once this year, really. I mean, the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, sort of pitch and putt courses, very short courses. He finished runner-up there, but largely unimpressive. But he seems to have really sorted out his driving now, and his putting has disappeared. So once his putting, which traditionally a strength, comes back, you'll have to start taking him seriously again. I think Jordan Spieth fans can be happy. Annie Spieth fans have some questions to answer, because if you see her come running on the green carrying the baby, did you see that?
I did see. I wanted that poor kid to have a crash helmet on.
She came on like blimmin' Jonah Lomu, like carrying a rugby ball. So I think Sammy Spieth might have some injuries, but I don't know. That was quite disturbing. But I expect Sammy Spieth's a tough cookie. But check that out if you haven't seen it. Yeah. Jordan Spieth's wife got overexcited and forgot she was carrying a baby, I think. But we'll let her off.
Well, what about the runner-up, Steve, as well? Mr. Cantlay, back in the frame, a player I know you're a big fan of.
Yeah, that's his second playoff loss of the year. He lost to the Chef in Phoenix in a playoff. So he's been expensive to follow for win-only punters, but he's placed 4 times now. And I think he was really unlucky with that plugged lie in the bunker in the playoff. He got a lot of stick from the commentators, which I thought was a bit harsh, because they were describing it as a course management blunder and saying he should have just pumped the ball long and 2-putted for par. But that would have just extended the playoff. Spieth, you've got to back Spieth to get up and down from that bunker. So Cantley's trying to win the tournament there and then by getting close to flag with for a birdie. So I've still got faith in Cantley. I don't think he did much wrong there. Just got a bit cute with the approach shot. World number 4, must be respected wherever he tees up.
Okay, that's the first 2 home. There was a plethora of players tied for 3rd as well. What are the takeaways? Anyone we should be looking out for in the coming weeks who caught your eye?
The Camerons, Cameron Davis and Cameron Young. Lovely to see Cam Davis bounce back to form after a lean spell. And another huge feather in the cap of Cameron Young. I mean, if he can contend around a tight, fiddly course like Harbour Town, the world's his oyster. I think Davis and Young, they both tied for 3rd place. They're both going places.
Good stuff. Right, should we crack on to this week's action then? Because we've got a double helpful this week. Right, let's start with the PGA Tour then, shall we? Something a little bit different, Steve. It's the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. Slightly different format, of course. 82-man teams rather than just one man and his caddy. Before we get stuck in, I just wanted to ask you if you approach the different format in a different way. You drilling down into the relationship between the pairings, whether they went to school together, if they got the same favourite. Like, is that, do you really? I know you leave no stone unturned. So is that what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. You get a lot of strange partnerships that are just thrown together by sponsors, and they don't really know each other that well. But there's other partnerships where they're like lifelong friends. I mean, I've had a deep dive into the pairings that interest me. 160 players to go through this week, as you say, 80 teams of 2. And we must mention the format. Best ball in rounds 1 and 3, but alternate shot in rounds 2 and 4. That's really testing format. And there's a lot of breeze in the forecast this week. So I think avoiding the disaster holes in rounds 2 and 4 will be the key this week. I think a lot of teams will crumble in the alternate shot format this week.
Okay, before we get the Palmer gems, we'll mention the each way terms here at Boyle Sports. Absolutely fantastic. As I say, it's 80 teams. And the first 8 each way terms here, Steve, with a fifth of the odds. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Boyle Sports got the top whack on the each way terms. We're at TPC Louisiana, 7,425 yards, 4 par 5s, made its tour debut in 2005. This wasn't always a pairs event, Dave. It was a standard PGA Tour event until 2017. So we've had 4 Zurich Classic pairs events. There wasn't one in 2020 due to coronavirus.
Okay, right. We've got Hovland and Morikawa head of the betting. Some big guns right up there. Smith and Leishman, I think, the defending champions. Who are you going for, Steve?
The number 1 selection is Sam Burns and Billy Horschel. 10-1 with Boyle Sports getting those 8 places. So the best each way terms with Boyle Sports, you can get 12-1 elsewhere with inferior each way terms. This is the most solid partnership for me. The world number 11 and the world number 14, both churning out greens in regulation. Burns has won 3 PGA Tour titles in 14 months. The last of them was just a month ago in the Valspar Championship. The only outing he's had since then was a Masters debut. No disgrace in missing the cut by a shot at Augusta. He may have actually peaked too early that week. He was taking a lot of money off the chef in practice rounds. He's good mates with the chef, maybe inspired by the chef. But the chef admitted in his media conference that in practice at Augusta, Burns was beating him. And I think it speeds up at Augusta, and then it catches the debutants out when they actually play in the tournament proper. It's much faster running turf. So debutants always struggle at Augusta. Don't worry about that. Burns is playing fantastic. He's teeing up in his home state of Louisiana this week, and he's with the man who he finished 4th alongside last year. Horschel and Burns teamed up for the first time in last year's Zurich, ended up only 2 shots outside of the playoff. Remember, easy to forget this, Burns was a PGA Tour maiden for the last Zurich Classic. Now he returns as a 3-time champion, much more swagger. And Horschel loves TPC Louisiana. He won the Zurich in 2013, PGA Tour breakthrough. And then he won it in 2018 in a team with Scott Piercy. So Horschel back at a course he loves. Burns playing great. Horschel's been consistently good for months. I don't see any holes in this partnership.
And he's one of our own, of course, Billy Horschel, massive West Ham fan, which is very random, Steve, I think.
That's it, yeah. He was tweeting when they won in the Europa League the other day, I believe, yeah.
Fetching claret and blue bag. Look out for that. Right, Burns and Horschel, then the main pick. How many others have you got selected, and who are they?
Only 2 more teams. We're going with a 3-pronged attack. And the next best is Keegan Bradley and Brendan Steele. 25-1 with Boyle Sports getting the best each way terms. 33-1 available elsewhere with inferior each way terms. It's going to be a very breezy week, as I mentioned. Managing your golf ball, grinding out greens and regulation. This is paramount. You've got two experienced campaigners here that can thrive in those conditions. Bradley, a major champion, typically solid from tee to green. Steele is excellent in the wind. And this is a well-established partnership. Go all the way back to 2011. And they won the Shark Shootout together, another one of these rare pairs events. They won the Shark Shootout 2011, and they reunited for the last year's Zurich Classic and finished fourth. They tied alongside Burns and Horschel in fourth place. This time, they found form at the perfect moment to go well again. Bradley was absolutely brilliant in the Players' Championship at Sawgrass. He finished fifth, despite being on the wrong side of what was a significant draw bias, and despite getting a really ridiculous two-shot penalty. The rules of golf, me and Bruce often get frustrated with the rules of golf. Bradley got a two-shot penalty in round two for marking his ball on the green, and then the ball rolled away. The wind blowed the ball away, and then he put it back on the marker and continued. Two-shot penalty. He was supposed to play from where it rolled to. So he did so well to bounce back from that on the Friday, then finish fifth in the tournament. He was eighth in the Texas Open last time out. Bradley in great nick. Steele finished 13th in the Players' Championship from the wrong half of the draw. So he's finally getting going after a slow start to the year. So, 33-1 about these two is great value in my opinion.
Steve, as always, I'll follow you in, but I can't watch Bradley. It takes forever.
Don't worry about that. If he takes forever to win you fortunes, you're going to love him, Dave.
Yes, that's very true. That's true. I did think you was going to say he got penalised for slow play, though, to be fair. Right, who's the third team?
The final team is Max Homa and Taylor Gooch. 22-1 with Boyle Sports getting the best each-way terms. 25-1 available elsewhere. Two great mates. They know each other really well. They're already on Twitter bantering about this tournament. They're going to have a lot of fun out there. And I think that I'm going to make a lot of birdies out there. And as with all of my selections, they've already played together in the Zurich Classic. They tied 17th as a combination last year in this event. Since then, Gooch has become a PGA Tour champion, won the RSM Classic in November. He's played really well since his wins. No flash in the pan. 7th at Bay Hill. And last time out, 14th on his Masters debut. That is a magnificent effort. You have to respect what he's been doing lately now, Taylor Gooch. And Max Homa's been really solid this year. 3-time PGA Tour champion. So, they're definite title contenders for me. I think they're really potent foursomes combo.
Are there any pairings, Steve, perhaps at the top of the betting where you just think, I can't see these two gelling that you want to be against?
Well, this is the first week in a long while we haven't gone to battle with the chef on our side. People just assume I'm going to be back in the chef, but I think this is the week where he drops a gear. It's pretty soon after those Augusta heroics. He's had lots of rounds of interviews to do, a lot of attention. Can he get his juices flowing again for a Zurich Classic? I don't think so. It's a low key event. I think he'll struggle for concentration. I don't think he's got a great partner. Ryan Palmer, with all due respect, I know Ryan Palmer won this event with John Rahm, but obviously John Rahm was the key to that. Ryan Palmer always seems to get great partners. He had Jordan Spieth, John Rahm, and now Scotty Scheffler. He must have everyone seems to love Ryan Palmer, but for me, I can't see the chef continuing his streak. 9-1 with Boyle Sports. I can leave that alone. I mean, the other market leaders, Leishman and Smith, the defending champions, and the forecast for wind will excite them. They're both great wind players, but Leishman's been off the boil. Smith since the 12th hole at Augusta onwards he messed up the 12th hole at Augusta, blew his chance there, missed the cut last week in the Heritage. I can leave them alone. And the top two in the market, Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa, as you mentioned, it's a dream team, but both have short game issues, and it could be quite a fresh. They're going to have to find greens and regulation, and I can resist them at the odds because they have bad spells on and around the greens, and they haven't got much course experience. Hovland finished 25th on debut last year with Christopher Ventura. Morikawa missed the cut on his debut last year by 9 shots, playing with Matt Wolff. I mean, he's got a better partner this year, but I just think they're a tad short. Cantlay and Schauffele, again, respect them. They've had success in bigger tournaments than this. Ryder Cup and President's Cup. They've won points together in Ryder Cup and President's Cup. 11th last year in the Zurich. But Cantley's obviously got that Heritage disappointment to get over. Schauffele's been off the boil and hasn't won since the old King died.
Okay, just quickly, Steve, because you mentioned you deserting the chef, and this is obviously a completely different format, but an interesting point made by Bruce last week on the Sweet Spot was that the chef for you should be jolly in every tournament he tees up in now?
The majors. I mean, we were discussing on Sweet Spot Live that John Rahm was still favourite for all the majors and the chef wasn't. Yeah, I think the chef has taken over, particularly for the stateside majors that are to come. I didn't want to reveal this too early, but perhaps a few people are picking up on it. But there was an interview with Scheffler where he was asked what his favourite course was in the States, and he's actually said Southern Hills. This was before he won the Masters. So Southern Hills, the venue for the USPGA, is Scheffler's favourite course in America. I mean, he has to be favourite on the basis of that and his form.
Okay, right. Well, there you go. Look out for that. We're just a month away from that. Right. Let's move on then to the ISPS Handa Championship in Spain, Steve, which I understand was originally meant to be in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some crazy tournament names on the DP World Tour lately, and this is one of the craziest. Just add in Spain at the end there. I mean, you could do that for every tournament and just say which country it is. So, yeah, strange tournament name, wide open event. I've got 6 tips, but massive prizes, all massive prizes.
Okay, we've got Europeans obviously dominating the anti-post market, but it's Rasmus Højgaard, Bernd Wiesberger, Adrian Naus, amongst others. A decent field, Steve.
Yeah. It's a fascinating event. It's the sort of event I love getting stuck into. I mean, we've got 160 runners in the Zurich to go through, 156 runners in this. Yeah, it is a challenging puzzle, but obviously prices are better, and I'm excited about this. And it's a course that we haven't seen much of. It's the Lakes course in Tarragona, Spain. 6,963 yards past 70. So an unusual, we don't get many par 70s these days, and not many courses under 7,000 yards. Only 2 par 5s. Designed by Greg Norman, opened in 2008. Very flat, generous fairways. But if you do miss a shot, it's usually big trouble. There's loads of water hazards around here. Water is in play on 14 holes. Loads of bunkering as well, and there's a little bit of breeze in the forecast, so I don't think it'd be a total doddle. I worry when the DP World Tour go to new venues, because a lot of new venues lately have been ridiculously low scoring, have been too easy. I think there'd be loads of birdies again this week, but I think there'd be lots of double bogeys as well. I don't think it'd be a total doddle. It's hosted one Challenge Tour event, 2014 Challenge de Catalunya, and the European Tour Q School finals from 2017 to 2019.
Okay, right. We've got, as I mentioned, 2 Danes, joint favs, a Spaniard, another Dane, then a Spaniard. Who is the main pick for this then? First of 6.
We're going for a Frenchman. As number 1 pick. It's Julian Brun. 40-1 with Boyle Sports, getting 6 places. 45-1 available elsewhere. Arguably the most promising of the Challenge Tour graduates last year. He's won 3 times on the Challenge Tour. The last of those was in Spain in October last year. Then he was second in the Challenge Tour Grand Final in Spain in November. And he's made a pretty seamless transition to the main circuit. 5 top 25 finishes in 8 starts. Really solid all-rounder. I just think he definitely looks good enough to win on the DP World Tour. He turned 30 at the start of this month. He got a strong record in Spain. Yeah, I see a breakthrough for Brun on Sunday.
Okay, it's a strong start then. 45-1 with Boyles. Do the prices get bigger here, Steve,
yes,
or are we going a little bit closer to the head of the betting?
No, we're ignoring the head of the betting. Next best is Marcus Hellekilde. 66-1 with Boyles, getting 6 places. 80-1 available elsewhere. A 25-year-old Dane. You mentioned the Danes dominating the top of the market there. This is another promising Danish golfer. And he's won 3 times on the Challenge Tour last year. 3 times in one season. And the final one of those was in Spain, the aforementioned Challenge Tour Grand Final. So the best tournament of the year, he's won it. And 2 of his 3 Nordic Golf League wins came in Spain. So he played Nordic Golf League before Challenge Tour. 2 of his 3 Nordic Golf League wins came in Spain. And 1 was at the same resort we're at now. The neighbouring, there's two courses on this resort, which they've rebranded the Infinitum Resort. And he won on the neighbouring Hills course. So he hasn't won on the Lakes course, but he won on the neighbouring Hills course. So he's really comfortable this week, is Marcus Hellekilde. And there were very encouraging signs last time out in the Qatar Masters. Don't know if you watched the Qatar Masters, Dave, but it looks like he's settled on the DP World Tour now. And he had that spell of adjustment at the start of the year. He signed from Wilson to TaylorMade at the start of the year. Had some new equipment to bed in over the first few months of the season. Didn't really get going. But last time out, closing round of 69, earned him 12th place in the Qatar Masters. Nobody betted that 69. Very windy Sunday in Qatar. I think it's a real confidence booster for Hilde. I'm expecting a very positive performance in Spain this week.
Okay, right. Who else catches the eye this week, Steve?
Santiago Tarrio, 80-1 with Boyles getting 6 places, 125-1 available elsewhere. Another Challenge Tour graduate. He won twice on that circuit last year. The second of those was the Challenge de España. He's teeing up on home turf again this week. I think he's an excellent course fit. Mentioned all that water. Tarrio, really accurate from tee to green. I think he'll avoid any trouble. He was 12th in the Challenge Tour Grand Final in his last trip home. He was second in that event on the same course in 2020. He's got a great record in Spain. If he can hold a few putts this week, Tarrio will be very dangerous. Number 4, Chase Handa, 100-1 with Boyles, 125-1 available elsewhere. Clicked into gear in his last event. I mentioned Hilde enjoyed the Qatar Masters. So did Chase Handa. Finished runner-up. A 27-year-old American. Loads of decent Challenge Tour form in Spain. 7th in last year's Challenge de España. 6th in the Challenge de Cadiz. 8th in the Challenge Costa Brava. I think he looks good enough to win on the DP World Tour. Great opportunity this for Handa. And then 2 more. The biggest price of all is the number 5 selection, Adrien Sadier. We backed him before on the sweet spot. He's 200-1 with Boyles getting 6 places. 250-1 available elsewhere. 29-year-old Frenchman, underachiever, good player with a questionable temperament. A bit too carefree for me, but there have been signs lately that he's getting mentally stronger. Became a father at the end of last year, and he's played some decent golf over the last few months. 7th place at Clan-sur-Sierre, 15th in the Dutch Open, 7th in the Dimension Data Pro-Am. And this week, he's returning to the country where he enjoyed his finest hour. He's won once on the Challenge Tour, and that victory came in the 2016 Challenge de España. He was 3rd going into the final round of the Challenge Tour event I mentioned at this very course in 2014. Finished 20th, but course proven. And he was 8th in the 2019 European Tour Q School finals at this course. So Sadier's got some course form. He's worth a ticket at enormous prices. And the finale is a player that, you know, the casual golf observer, I think, why the heck is he that far down the betting? And I think he's worth chancing. 125-1 with Boyle Sports getting 6 places. 140-1 available elsewhere is Tom Lewis, who has been struggling to make cuts on the Corn Ferry Tour this year. Not long ago, Tom Lewis had a PGA Tour card and a European Tour card. Now he hasn't got either. I think there's a chance that a return to his home circuit this week, he's got a DP World Tour category that sneaks him into this field. I think the return home could relax him and could get him playing to the level we all know he's capable of. I mean, Tom Lewis at his best is a magnificent golfer. He's a 2-time European Tour champion. Both of those wins came in Portugal, so across the Spanish border. 2-time European Tour champion. He won on the Corn Ferry Tour in 2019. He was 2nd in the 2020 WGC FedEx St Jude Invitational. World-class field. Any glimpse of the Tom Lewis A game this week in this low-grade affair, and he's a serious runner. I think he's worth chancing.
Steve, I've got to ask you, have you ever fancied a job as an announcer on the tee? I would pay the admission fee just to hear you announce the players. You've clearly worked hard with your pronunciation as well. Do you fancy that gig?
I would love that job. Yeah. I mean, I don't think my bladder's strong enough. You got a very strong bladder to do that job. But I certainly love the Spanish aspect.
So clearly. I just quickly wanted to ask you. Obviously, got a bit of Q School form there. Where could punters go to find that kind of info? Obviously, this course form is very thin on the ground. How do we find that online?
You got to do the hard yards on the Google search engines. Yeah, it's not easy to find, but if you type the right stuff into Google, you get there. I wouldn't get too carried away with it. It's quite old form. There was some Q School second stage stuff quite a long time ago, but yeah, there are 3 years of Q School finals, 2017 to 2019, and that Challenge Tour event I mentioned. But Adrien Sadier, he knows his course well, and I think 250-1 is a disrespectful price about a player I've followed for many years, and I've always thought he was good enough to win this level, and we shall see. But I just think this is a tournament to attack with outsiders. I think it's wide open. I think this is the best tactic. Big prices, small stakes.
Good stuff. Right, shall we have a roundup then of what we're playing this week post both tournaments?
Yes, sir. Zurich Classic, Sam Burns and Billy Horschel, Keegan Bradley and Brendan Steele, Max Homer and Taylor Gooch, and the ISPS Handa Championship in Spain. Julian Brun, Marcus Hilde, Santiago Tarrio, Chase Handa, Adrien Sadier, and Tom Lewis.
All right, Stephen, if the viewers were to just have one bet this week from either tournament, who's your strongest selection?
Sam Burns and Billy Horschel. Yeah. They're the best bet. And then if you have Sam Burns and Billy Horschel in a double with each way double with Julian Brun, you can have a bit of fun.
Okay, lovely stuff. Right, we will, of course, be back next week. Mexican Open and the Catalunya Championship as well. Thank you for your time and expertise as ever, Steve.
My pleasure, Dave. Good luck with your greyhounds.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be cheering on the claret and blue of Billy Horschel this week. Thanks for watching as well. Please do remember to gamble responsibly, safely, and most importantly, enjoy the golf this weekend.